water, earth, fire, and air. Long ago, these four nations, and many other nations, lived in harmony, but everything changed when Gandhi attacked. Hello and welcome to Drawing and Dragons. This week's episode, I decided to do something different and something very challenging, actually. This was surprisingly difficult. I took the world of Avatar the Last Airbender, which I kind of realized doesn't really have a name. Actually, let me check that. Found out it does not have a name. There is no name for the world as a collective. Anyway, so I decided to take this map here, which I'm completely covered by, but this map, you can see it's highly detailed. There, I'll make sure to put a link down in the comments to where I found this map. It is an amazing map with tons of labels, and it shows the route that the characters took in the show. It's really good. And so what I did is I took this into Photoshop, which you are now seeing here, and I overlaid a grid over it, and you'll see why I needed to do that in a short moment. Otherwise, just one or two quick little announcements. First off, I got an amazing haircut. Second off, I got this really awesome poster for my fiance and best friend. They gave it to me for my birthday. It was a big surprise. You can't quite see it because of the glare, but it's the Critical Role Mighty Nine episode 50 thing. It's actually signed by all the cast members, so that was super surprising. I was really excited for that. Anyway, getting back to the game. So here we are in the world. This was probably the most challenging of all to draw. Step 2, as usual, is to draw the land. And I start out with just a blank ocean map, and I begin to draw. Now, this was most challenging, mainly because of the water nations. They are at the very tops. They're pretty small, but they are above and below everything else, which is a big challenge because it means everything else has to be scrunched down in order to keep the same like aspect ratios, like proportionals or proportions of where everything is. And so that actually made this so challenging that I had to restart like 3 or 4 times in order to get to a point where I was happy, even with just a basic drawing. Like you can see right now, I'm just doing basic giant clumps of land trying to get the general shape right. I just was not happy. So I actually ended up completely just deleting it. At this point, I was like, I'm not even going to erase it. I deleted it. I got rid of it completely and I started new with a brand new idea. So I took that grid that I made, and this time I made a grid in game on Worldbuilder. I used snow because I know there's basically no snow on the map, and I tried my best to recreate this grid. It's not perfect, it's not 100%, but it's about as good as I'm going to get. So after recreating this grid with snow, which looks great on the mini map, I went through and began. I did start the South Pole, just felt like it was a good starting spot. I didn't want to tackle the massive land of the Earth Kingdom just yet. I wanted to do just these little islands, and the pole kind of keeps everything central. So I start off with the water nation down there, and then I did the southern air temples, and then I started working with the coastline down there, and slowly working my way around the Earth Kingdom. I thought that would be easier is to get my outline, get my size and space down, and then I could fill it in and actually start figuring out some more of the details. So I did the two major lakes right there, which, I mean, if you really think about it, they're basically one lake with a tiny little stretch of land, but that piece of land is critical, and I thought it would make that area a little bit more interesting if you control one side or the other. So I did decide to keep that in. As I was making this map, I am erasing the grid now, and this is the part where I'll be going into step 3, which is painting the terrain, as I'm doing now. But I just want to say, as I was making this map, I tried my best to keep pretty faithful to Avatar World, but the problem is a lot of it is just abstracted on the map. Like, for example, the Southern Air Temple on the map is just mountains and mountains and mountains. There's nothing else there. But obviously, if I want to play this as a civilization map, I can't just have mountains and mountains and mountains. So I made sure to add a little bit of variety. There are some other areas where there's just stretches of grass, just tons of grass. I decided to add a couple bits of plains here and there, especially on the on the eastern edge. There are some parts there where there are some like discolorations, and so that's why I interpret it as. I'm sure it's not actually like that, but again, the purpose of whenever I make these maps is I want to make them playable, yet I also want to be relatively faithful to their recreation. So going through again, same thing as I was mentioning before. I'm kind of putting some tundra and some grassland in those areas, just to make it feel like there's a bit more tundra. Because otherwise, if I only have tundra in the water nations, there's gonna be basically no tundra here, making this map essentially impossible for someone like Russia or Canada to truly enjoy and play. I mean, I'm sure Russia could do fine, but they'd be missing out on some of their key features. So I want to make sure the top and the bottom of the maps at least have some of that, even if the bottom especially is just a bunch of islands. Speaking of those islands, the one shame of this whole thing, as I'm doing my cliffs and rivers here, the one shame of the islands is that that's where all the city-states spawn. I'm not sure why. I think it's just in their coding that they are supposed to take up places that players wouldn't want. And so I think they are coded simply to spawn on these medium to small sized islands. So whenever I load into the game, it's just all city-states down there in that bottom right corner, down in the southwestern corner. Just all city-states. Um, so maybe if you play this map and you don't want that amount of imbalance with the city states, maybe consider just having no city states spawn. You could do that as well. Now I'm simply just editing the metadata, and this is always important to do. I will, once again, at some point talk more about this and why it's important. But aside from that, that is actually basically near the end. I'm just adding in the players and adding in the save states. I'm going to take this time to mention to you, though, that right after this video goes live, there will be 1 or 2 episodes. If it's not today, it's tomorrow. There will be 1 or 2 episodes to the beginning of a Let's Play series. I've decided to, I saw some people actually were asking about it, and so, why not? Thought about it. So I'm going to be doing a Let's Play. It's going to give me a random character, a random leader on this map, and wherever I end up is where I end up, and it should be pretty fun, actually. So check that out. It will be up in the next few days, and here's the nice final map. I think it looks really great. I kind of have the map on the side monitor, and so as I was like looking back and forth, I was like, oh, I did really well with this. And now the in-game preview. I'm not going to try to name all these places because it is way too much. Simply way too much. This is a full world map. No way, Jose. Uh, Most of the map is the Earth Kingdom. You have the tiny water tribe north and south. You have the 3 little air nomad areas just here and there. And then you have the Fire Nation, which is just a bunch of islands and volcanoes. I mean, I think there are a total of 6 volcanoes there. One person usually spawns there, so if you do spawn there, good luck. At least you get your own little safe area. The Earth Kingdom is like just a constant struggle of war. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And don't forget, there will be more videos like this and my other types of videos coming soon. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.